Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Today I'm going to talk about the hazards of my job because I get a lot of questions about, well, isn't it dangerous working with animals, and haven't you been kicked and scratched and stepped on and all that stuff before? So I thought I'd talk about some of the actual dangerous things and then talk about some of the good hazards, or what I call them. Dog bites are a serious concern for a lot of people, and I've been working with animals, I think, since I was about 13, but my first job ever was with horses, and I was about 10, and I've been stepped on, I think, a handful of times when I was working as a camp counselor, and the horse stepped on my foot and twisted and ripped all the skin off the top of my foot, and it was bruised for a while, but he didn't do it intentionally, and it wasn't in the last couple of years. I worked with ponies for a little while. They're a little bit smaller, but again, if I got stepped on, it was just like a tiny bit of my foot, and no permanent damage, all good there. Never been kicked before, thank goodness. Knock on wood. Dog bites, the only dog that's ever bitten me was my cousin's German Shepherd, who we were tobogganing. The dog was at the top of the hill, and we started going down, and he decided to chase me down the hill, and I was wearing snow pants, thank God, but he took my entire leg in his mouth, and I still have a scar, but didn't puncture the skin. This was Thanksgiving, I think, and there was snow, and didn't puncture the skin. My leg just swelled up a little bit, and then it was fine, and that was that. I've been asked if I've ever been peed or pooped on. I would have to say no, because usually when I'm partway through the session, if they have to go to the bathroom, I'll let the owner take them to the bathroom and then come back and keep going. Sometimes when I'm done the session, they want to go out immediately, but it hasn't actually happened on me. I've had horses that I'm working on, and while I'm working on a specific digestive point or something, they have a bowel movement, and that's pretty normal, but I've had to duck out of the way a couple times because I'm working near their back leg, but never on me. Cat scratches, quite common. I know I have a picture of me. One of the first cats I worked with in the traditional business was not so friendly when I first met her, and now she adores me, but she got me right here, and I have photo evidence of that one. It was pretty close to my eye, but I think she fell off a fence when she was playing with her sisters and landed funny and threw her hips out, and her owner noticed that she was walking funny but didn't know that she threw her hips out, so I was feeling along her back very gently, and it felt very odd. And I went anywhere within like this far of her back leg, and she would swing at me. So suggested she go see a cat chiropractor, and now she's all better. But yeah, now we have a much more mutually beneficial relationship where she purrs to greet me and sleeps in my lap. But it's all about the slowly working towards it, not taking anything personally, because they know that I'm trying to help them, so it's not something that I take on anymore. I always have a dirty car because I drive to farms and I take Kai to a lot of muddy trails, and the outside of my car is always dirty, and the inside is filled with Kaya's post-swamp pond mud zoomies right on my back seat, and then her hair goes everywhere, and when I work, I get covered in hair, so I have a lint roller in my car. It doesn't entirely do the job, but it gets most of it. But there's, the hair gets in like the vent and on all the little buttons and stuff, so I have to clean it quite frequently because otherwise it gets intolerable. Pet hair everywhere. That includes on my clothes. And I'm quite used to it because of Kaya, and she's a dual-coated dog, meaning she has lots of hair, but Other people are not always used to it, so I have to, again, have another lint roller in here to kind of not get dressed until right before I go out, because otherwise all my clothes get covered in hair. I have to wear old clothes to my clients' houses because if I wear something nice, it might get scratched or hair on it or something like that, and it can't have any holes in it. And by that I mean like a crochet type pattern or a knit of any kind, because the claws sometimes get caught in it, or if the animals are really excited, and I don't want to ruin my clothes. So oftentimes people who have seen me for more than a year or so, I wear the same clothes because I have my designated work clothes that I wear to keep my good clothes from being ruined. Just in case you were curious. So that's the negative parts of my job. Most of the pets that I end up working with are seniors, probably 70%, which means that I only see them when they're at their worst. And often, I mean, in some cases, like Earnhardt's case, I gave him an extra 2 years of life because his mobility was okay. And in some cases, they get, a year or a couple more months. But ultimately, I have to watch a lot of my clients pass away. And not only dealing with that personally, but watching my clients deal with it still breaks my heart every time. And I get them a card and stuff, but I feel like I'm not doing enough for them because I want to be there for them. And a lot of them don't quite know how Bach flower essences can help with the grieving process and making it a little smoother. It doesn't make it less painful, but it helps you move through everything. And I've offered it to people. I haven't had anybody take me up on it yet who hasn't already been on Bach flower remedies, but it's a really good aid, let's call it. But that you kind of get some emotional strength, and it also makes you more emotional. So sometimes, you're out in your day and I get a phone call and I say, oh, we had to put the dog down today. And I immediately just burst into tears. And it doesn't matter where I am, I'll still cry. But people started staring at me, and it's learning to kind of not harden yourself to it, but being able to process each one, because all my clients mean so much to me. That's given me some a little more emotional strength, let's call it. A lot of people think I play with animals all day, but that is not the case. I do get to see puppies and kittens and adorable dogs and the occasional donkey or horse or something, but I do get a lot of puppy kisses, and I met a new client this week, and beautiful Cane Corso, and super friendly. She just wanted to lick my face half the time I was there. So Kai gets a little jealous when I come back and my whole body smells like a different animal. But I usually have to wash my face quite often, which I'm perfectly okay with. That's a really good reason to have to do that. I get a lot of cats purring and rubbing on me, which I used to be allergic to cats. So it was more of a problem then, because as soon as one touched me or got anywhere near my face, I would get like a rash on my arm. And if I touch the cat and touch my face gets red and puffy. But it's better now. I don't have a lot of issues with the cats, but I get cats rubbing on me all the time, which is really nice. My clients that I've seen a couple times, they usually greet me at the door. So sometimes, especially with the cats, I tend to hide away the first couple of times, but then they realize that I'm there to see them specifically, and a lot of them like having a personalized visitor, right? Because most people don't come to see them, they come to see whoever owns the house. So it's kind of nice for them to get, someone there just to see them. My greatest accomplishment, or I don't know if I would call it that, the greatest praise I can get for one of my sessions is if an animal falls asleep during my session, because animals won't fall asleep if they feel unsafe, or if they're nervous or anxious about something. So for an animal, especially one I haven't met a lot of times, to fall asleep in front of me is a huge compliment. Huge compliment. And it makes my heart happy to see a lot of them start off really nervous and anxious when I first meet them. And then, they kind of get to the point where I show up and they run to their bed and lay down and sleep through the whole thing. They wake up and I'm gone because they just kept sleeping. They were so relaxed. So that's really nice. I get to build a personal bond with them. And a lot of the animals, yes, they're absolutely adorable and I love working with animals, but it also helps strengthen the bond between the pet parent and the pet, because maybe they're feeling misunderstood or the owner doesn't quite know what's going on, and me getting to work with the animal and help bridge the communication between the two gives them both confidence that they're being heard, and it gives the owner confidence that they can help their animal, because a lot of pet parents feel like they don't know how to help their animal, and the animal feels like they're not being heard and nobody's having a good time. So it allows me to strengthen that bond by making them both more confident that they know what they're supposed to be doing and that they are being heard. One of the main perks, I would say, of my career is that I get to give pets a longer lifespan. With a higher quality of life, a lot of it, if their quality of life is so low that they, aren't going out and they're not eating their food and they're not enjoying things that they used to enjoy, then that's obviously, you don't want a longer lifespan because the animal's not in a good place. But in the case where, it's something simple that you can fix and their quality of life gets higher and you get a couple more years with them, that's a huge benefit for me. And I've had owners crying and they're just in disbelief that they get all that extra time, because they were told that, hi Monica, they were told that their animal was either going to have to be on drugs for life, or they were going to have an expensive surgery, or they were going to have to be put down. And 2 years later, your animal is still happy and playing outside and chasing things and playing indoors and laying in the sunshine. That it's reaffirming to me that I know what I'm doing, and I know what I'm doing, but it helps other people see that I know what I'm doing as well, which is really nice, which of course makes the pet parents a lot happier, because they have a sense of control over, I know how to do this now, and I can look after my animal. And the pets are happier because their quality of life is higher and they get to do all the things they want to do. And oftentimes the simple communication between the animal and the owner gives the animal a chance to express themselves in a way that they haven't before. Most of the animals that I work with haven't had that kind of work before, so it's nice to be able to give them that experience. Again, it strengthens the bond between the owner and the animal, which I know I mentioned on the negative side, but it's not a negative thing. It's usually really, really amazing to see, because suddenly if an animal is acting really aloof, that we can work through it, and then the animal goes back to the way they were before. And the owner gets that reassurance that the animal is still themselves and they're still feeling the same way about them. The emotional strength I put on both sides, because it's very difficult sometimes to process. I had a span of about 3-4 months where a lot of my senior pets passed away, and it was every 2 weeks I got a phone call, and I'm still processing the previous one, and it's not easy. It's sometimes I'm walking down the street and I see a dog and I start to tear up, and it's not easy. I know they're not my animals, but I get very attached to them, and while it helps me once I've worked through it, the working through it process isn't always easy. And I understand that completely. But those are the main hazards of my job. From the actual physical hands-on part, that doesn't include all of the, off-book hours where I'm doing graphics and website and media and all of that stuff. But that's the physical part. Yes, I have stepped in horse poo before. That's just, you have to clean your shoes. It is what it is. Yes, I've stepped in dog poo. That's also a thing. Just clean my shoes and keep going. Picking up a lot of dog poop. But again, that stuff doesn't outweigh all the amazing things, so it's totally worth it, in my opinion. But if you have any questions about how I operate or anything, really, I love to answer questions. So, the weather is getting a little better. Actually, sunny today, so that should be fun. Have a fabulous rest of your day, and next week, I have a mini exciting announcement before I have a big, super exciting announcement. So, stay tuned, and I will see you next week.